Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
Our partners at BetOnline continue to be the number one source for all your sports betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest sports developments, including updated odds on the NBA playoffs, fights, and even next season's futures. And don't forget that the MLB is back as well. And who are you picking to win the World Series? I'm picking the Royals, but I don't think that's going to work out, but we'll see. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started, so head to the website today or use your mobile device to join and use our promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back. A long week off. We let the two games roll. Welcome to the 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash. I'm here with our former legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Yourself?
Good.
Can't complain. Before we get into the talk about the games over the last week, but I gotta say, kudos to TNT for going out and getting Gus Johnson to call the game last night. I thought that's fantastic.
I save, he did some of my son's football games, so I always save the parts and kind of, they had a little video of the sections when he's hyping it up, especially when they win. Mm-hmm. So he did, when they did the game when they played the other team down the road. That was awesome. You know what I'm saying? Just, you kind of hear his voice, and on top of that, he's a really nice guy. So, But I enjoy him calling games. He's called basketball pro games before. He's just been a long time.
Right.
Well, yeah, kind of came out of nowhere. They're like, they said his name and we were like, Gus Johnson?
It's been a while.
Well, he calls Milwaukee Bucks games, some games during the season, but he's not consistent NBA games nowadays. And like when I guess Sunday night when they released the who's going to be calling games for the rest of the week, TNT just slipped in Gus Johnson, didn't make a big announcement about it, and I was like, "What, Gus Johnson?"
Yeah, that's cool.
I hope he can call some of our games the rest of the way, but I think we're playing on NBA TV tomorrow night, so no Gus Johnson then. But we can't have that every game.
That's technically TNT with NBA TV, same guys, just not their top guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
So still a shot. Yeah. Okay. So obviously, we only had one episode last week. We're gonna have two this week. Lots to get into. Two games since our last show. So let's get it rolling here. So since our last show, when we expressed our concerns about playing the Toronto Raptors, and we're 2-0. We've gone 2-0 since then, outscoring the Raptors by about 35 points. So what do you hear? What do you say? What are you guys seeing, and how are you guys feeling about the series so far, Eric?
Feeling good. I mean, the alternative number one was to go win the basketball games, and that's what we did. You didn't get them kind of the way we expected Embiid to kind of go off, and hopefully James, Teja wanted him to score 25 plus points a game, and we wanted all of this stuff, and I thought he just had to be average, and other guys need to step up. The one thing that's exciting is like it's come in different ways each game. So to me, I didn't think I thought Joel was dominant, but I didn't think he was like excessively dominant as far as scoring. And I don't think it's going to be like that because he's going to get so much attention. But the fact that other guys, now we've been, wanting Tobias to be that consistent guy with those other top players, and he's done that in the first two games.
Yep.
Obviously, Maxey's played terrific, especially in game one. Scoring the basketball, and he's been shooting it well. So I think that collectively what we've shown is that when guys play well and we have a great deal of guys playing well, that we can accomplish a lot of things, and we can get out to those leads and maintain them, even though they made a little shaky there in game two. But I think that we did enough to win the game. We did enough to gain confidence going on the road. We'll just have to maintain that consistency and effort once we get to Toronto.
And what were you saying? Because I know during the game last night, you were so psyched about Danny Green's dunk, of course, but you were just really excited about what Danny Green's done so far in the first 2 games.
I want to like Photoshop a picture of like the Angels from Angels in the outfield when they pick up the guy to catch that fly ball. I wanted to do that with Danny dunking, man, because I was like, whoa, Danny, that's where you've been all season, man. You've been gearing up for that dunk. I thought, I mean, I feel great. It looks great. We had control pretty much of the whole game. I don't think when you watch them play, I don't think they were ever worried, even when they were up like 10-0. It was like, okay, let them have some fun in the beginning of the games. It was like, picking up the game when your little brother's beating you by a few points. That's what it almost felt like. They look so poised. The defense looks, I think, maybe the best it's looked since Harden's got there. Like the team defense has been amazing. And I know people want to come at James for not scoring more than 14 points, but no one talks about it. He had 3 steals and 2 blocks. He's only done that like three times this year. So that was great. Dude, Tobias Harris, I mean, I can't say – I think I said something about his defense right as the commentator said something about his defense. His defense has been incredible, man, and he's switching on everybody. He was guarding Van Fleet a lot, and it wasn't even a switch. He was just on him to start the play, and I know Van Fleet's banged up and his knee's a little gimpy, and I get that, but still, I mean, I would never think Tobias can stick on a 1.5 leg Van Fleet. He's shooting great too on top of it. He looks so comfortable now. He's gone through some bumps and bruises with Harden, but Harris looks so good. He's, I think, shooting 6 of 8 this series, shooting 40% since Harden came from 3. Embiid's unstoppable as usual. Maxey's his like 20, 25 point games were like a bonus, but now I'm almost expecting them every time, which it's going to disappoint me at some point or another because he's so young. He's not going to just keep doing this, but I don't know. Maybe he will. Embiid looks so focused. He looks like he already knows he lost the MVP race and he's taking it out on the Raptors is what it looks like. And I don't know, as far as Nurse complaining about calls, I don't know what it seemed like to you guys, but it definitely seemed like Nurse told them to pick up the physicality and to foul harder. So I don't know why he was expecting to get more calls or less calls on his team when you're telling your team to foul harder and be more physical, because they were fouling hard yesterday, which is fine. Embiid's a big boy. He can handle it. But I don't know why you're surprised by the fouls. And he seemed to get better every time they fouled him harder. So, I mean, that's okay. And I really think we benefited. And I've noticed this in the playoffs period. A lot of the teams that weren't doing the whole, like, okay, you're out this game and you're out next game. We're going to keep doing this throughout the end of the season. We pretty much played, except for the last game. We pretty much played through it. I feel like we're already kind of in playoff mode. And Toronto was one of those teams that was doing the, musical chairs of, you're out this game, you're out last game, and they're having a little trouble finding their footing and they are injured. But yeah, I just feel like we're already at that level playing, and we've already taken a step up.
Eric, what did you think about the whole exchange between Nick Nurse and Embiid about the foul calls? What did you think about that? Do opposing players usually talk to coaches during the game and stuff? Does that?
He may say something. I mean, but I think that's obviously more personal because Nurse has went public in saying it and complaining about it. But usually, the guys would say it in the press conference. But I guess the situations presented himself where he could say something to him. Usually you don't say anything to a coach unless it's like jokingly. And I think it probably started out that way. And then it probably got a little more serious than, he wasn't going to do anything, but, I'm sure that some choice words over there. But at the end of the day, it's about winning the game. So they're going to do all that complaining because they're going to expect to get those calls in Toronto.
Yeah. He's trying to set up for that, definitely.
Yes.
And the crazy thing is yesterday, we had more turnovers than they did. Yet we had 12 more fast break points. So their injuries are mounting, and you could see we're just running them hard. Trent looks like a shell of what he was.
They'll play well. They'll play better at home. The question is going to be, are we going to play better on the road? Because you will get a more energetic team from Toronto. They will play harder. They will shoot better. They're going to execute better. They're going to do all those things better. Trust me when I tell you this. And they're going to have the crowd behind them.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what I think, the MVP is going to have to perform. I think James is going to have to perform. I think it's going to have to be those two guys, because the one thing that those two guys do, even if you look at Tobias and Maxey, who's been playing well and had great games, they don't command the amount of attention that the other two command. So when you get into a situation like a hostile environment on the road, it's how many easy baskets, how many good looks can you get? Those guys creating easier opportunities for teammates and taking care of the ball is going to dictate a lot. But if they're double teaming us and guys are playing in crowds and we're turning the ball over and we're not getting clean, crisp passes and clean shots, they're going to make those shots on the other end. They're going to finish on the other hand. They're going to run better in transition. They're going to offensive rebound better at home because the energy is going to be better. The crowds will be better. So and if they're on the run and all of a sudden they're having a lead and we haven't been down really much big and late in this series in these games, you got to be aware of that. And that's where, Tybull not being there, even though he hasn't really played as much, but you're going to need more bodies, more defenders and more role players to play a level up, because if we're saying that we're beating them because Maxey and Tobias, your third and fourth option, are exceeding expectations, most likely they average out. So in order for them to average out, probably got to be a below average, going on the road.
Yeah, Eric, what did you think of James' game yesterday? I know I was watching First Take earlier. Stephen A. Smith said, "Oh, that kind of effort, only 9 shots. That's going to get you swept by Miami in the next round." I mean, what did you think of his game collectively yesterday?
Yeah, I don't think that it's, to me, and I've said this to you all before. Is it 9 shots or not having the ball in his hands? Because he has the ball a lot, but he's only taking 9 shots. So I would be more concerned if James is shying away from the basketball and not making plays, and all of a sudden he's a wing guy that's just standing around and Maxey has the ball a lot, or Joel has the ball and he's just standing there. But if he's making plays and he's actually driving, he can still get to the free throw line 8 to 10 times, take 9 shots, like that's still having the ball in your hands a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm not concerned with even though I would like to see him shoot a little more and shoot better, but my concern is if he's shying away from that basketball, because if he doesn't have the ball, he's not getting to the line, he's not making plays, he's not creating double teams and getting easier baskets or offensive rebound opportunities for the team.
Yeah, Teja, you were saying how on the show you said before that as he gets older, Harden gets older, he's going to need him kind of have more of a Chris Paul kind of game. And last night, it kind of looked like a Chris Paul kind of game.
What Chris Paulish. It wasn't even a great Chris Paulish. It was like below average Chris Paulish. But I mean, it was, yeah. I mean, we were talking to a friend of ours who was, he comes from more of a casual Sixer fan side, and he was saying, he saying the same thing Stephen A. said. You need more. What do you mean you need more? Like, we were up by an average of 27. How can you say?
That's what I'm saying. So when you need more, what do you need more of? Scoring?
Yeah, I mean,
like what is it that you need more of?
I don't want him holding the ball for 20 seconds, and that gets rid of all the games that everyone else has.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, people say you need more from a guy when you won by 20.
Yeah,
like, I don't get that. I don't understand that. If it's we lose the game, or if it's a close game, and I need more. But how do you say you need more from a guy you won by 20 points? Like, and you're up 20 majority of the second half. Because then if he goes out and you win by 20 and he's shooting all the time, then you're going to say he's chasing stats. Like, what? You can't have it both ways. Like, which way is it? Is it about winning, or is it about a guy having to go out and get all these stats so y'all can say he played great?
I think people are having a hard time figuring out, and this is just me speculating, I think people are having a hard time figuring out if he can still do old Houston Harden stuff, but
I think, and I agree with you, I think that people are looking at him expecting that.
Yeah.
But he never had Joel.
Yeah, he never had Joel. He never had, didn't really have Maxey either. He
had guys that can do what Maxey's done. Like,
he had complimentary players.
So, I mean, he had Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook. He had guys that can go out and get 30.
Yeah.
So he had perimeter guys that can do that. He didn't have a guy that made him the second option. That he hasn't had since he played for Oklahoma City.
Yeah, because all of his Houston compliments. I mean, even
He
Chris
was the
Paul,
number one option, and he had
Chris
the
Paul
ball.
and him are kind of redundant. Like they have very similar skill sets.
So you're expecting him to do what he did in Houston, but forgetting that he also went to Brooklyn first, and he didn't do it there.
No, he didn't.
So he didn't do it there, but now you're expecting it here. Like I think it's just with James. I think with most people, it's just totally personal.
Yeah.
It's just how you feel about him, what you think about him, what he needs to do. It's all about it's not that they may dislike him. It's just that what they think he should be doing, they just firm in on that, but
not so used to it.
Not really looking at how it fits into the dynamic of the team.
Yeah.
I don't think they really watch the team enough or digest the team enough to say that wouldn't work, but that's not necessary for this particular team. Now, I do think there's instances, and there will be some games where James is going to have to take over and he's going to have to go get 30 for us to win. But I don't think that's an every game thing.
And it shouldn't have to be. That's why he wanted to come to a team with Embiid.
Yes.
Like,
so that's why he'll have a 14-point game, and then a 20-point game. So that's how it's going to be when you're not the number one option.
It's funny. I bet you the same people complaining that he's not doing James stuff now are the same people complaining when he was putting up 40 in Houston and not winning. Well, that's not enough. You need to get other people involved.
Same people.
Okay. Well, now he's averaging. He has the most assists in the playoffs by like 7, I think 5 or 7. So it's like he's a distributor. He's evolving. He's changing his game, and you can't do that forever. I think we've seen all these great players. You have to transition, and we're watching his transition to what he's going to be for the next couple of years and few years. Like he can't. That's not sustainable. We saw it's not sustainable. Maybe it is, but you're not going to win anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's
like Kobe putting up 50 shots a game with winning 30 games a season at the end of his career. It's like that's not. He has to adapt, and he has to become like a point guard, right?
Yeah, I just think that majority of the folk that feel that way about James has questioned, him and playing his style before, and they just now it's just first it was he couldn't win it in Houston, and he just chasing stats and putting up numbers, and well he went to Brooklyn. Oh, he has no excuse now. They should win, and we all see how that went. And those guys really never played together. So now when he comes here, we put an expectation on him that we didn't even put on the expectation that the guy he got traded for didn't even have that expectation.
Yeah.
See, you know what I'm saying? So now you put the expectation on him to say he's there and he has no excuse to do something that he and Joel Embiid has never done.
Yeah. If Ben was averaging 22 and 12, we'd be wanting him nominated for MVP. Are you kidding me? So I'm just like that's what they've never done. Like James has technically been to the NBA Finals. Yeah,
he's been there.
Yeah, it's true.
So Joel has it. Our team has it in 21 years, but so now we're saying that this guy since he's arrived in February or March or whenever it was, that he needs to lead us to the promised land, and he needs to play better than everybody in the league. And if he doesn't score 30 points a game and dominate, then, it's his fault.
I just think it's crazy. I mean,
I just think that's crazy.
It's a winning formula. It's winning right now. So I'm not going to.
I think you got to win the game.
Yeah.
Let's criticize James and to me, it'll be clear. It'll be very clear if we don't win a game and he's not playing to maybe his potential. I think it'll be very clear. It won't be one of those things where you're trying to, I think you're picking on it. No, I think it'll be clear because the one thing that's been pretty evident about James Harden in his career is you can kind of see when he hasn't played well, it's been pretty obvious. He don't really have those games where he put up these great numbers and you'll be like, man, he was, and then you kind of question things that he's doing. I think it's like, and that's where it was almost like no gray area with him. He was great or he wasn't, wasn't great.
A home run or a strikeout.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that now he's sort of in that gray area and people just don't really know how to react. You have some people that watch a lot and be like, hey, he's great. He's doing everything he needs to do to help us win. You have those people that, no, I like the home runs, and that's what we need to be. He's a home run hitter. He need to stay there. So I just think he's in a tough situation.
And great players know themselves well, yes, right? So he knows what he's capable of doing on a night-to-night basis, and maybe that's why he wanted to come to a team with Embiid, or he was finally like, what? I don't want to. I can't do the 40 every night.
It's not that he can't do it anymore. Like let's look at his last 3 or 4 or 5 years. The playoffs, he's kind of worn out.
Yeah.
It's just that's on public. That's on record, right?
Yeah.
Not from a talent standpoint, just from the load.
Mm-hmm.
So
good for him for realizing that. A lot of guys.
I personally think he realized that, and I think that he in the situation where he's also comfortable with the general manager that's there.
Yep.
So I just think he wanted a situation that, like of all of us do, want to be in a situation that's good for you.
Yeah. And
I don't think that, not that I think it will affect the team. I think it could affect James if he lets all the exterior stuff start all of a sudden creeping in. But I've said it to you all before when everybody was talking about who has the most pressure, that I didn't say him. Like, because I don't think it's necessary for him to be that kind of the old James Harden for us to win.
Yeah.
I don't think that's realistic.
If he is, forget about Maxey having 20
that's
points.
what I'm saying. So if he's doing that, Tobias and Maxey is not going to be doing what they're doing.
Oh, they didn't even shoot that much anyway. I think Tobias had like 11 shots in that game.
It's not going to be possible. And
if they shoot 80%, maybe, but that's not going to happen.
Especially with the limited possessions, it's not going to be possible for. So we can't we praising Maxey, but then saying James got to do more. You can't. It's not. And Joel, it's not possible in the playoffs.
Just as long, I think we said this weeks ago. As long as Embiid gets his 30 plus, someone else, I don't care who it is, someone else gets like 25, the other guy gets like 20, and the other guy gets like 18. If those guys do that between those four, it doesn't matter who it is really. Like that's the thing.
Give yourself a chance to win.
Harden one day, Maxey one day. If Maxey's feeling it, Harden's not going to jack up 20 shots. It'd be irresponsible of him to do that. Let him have it. He's got them tonight. Like they can't guard him, obviously. Why would he's shooting 3 for 9? Why would he go 5 of 15? Why? What's the point? Like what for what?
I think the other thing that we haven't really hit on, this is going to dictate a lot, is you come in, that Toronto is going to double. And they've been consistent with that on Joel. Double and sometimes triple. And they're doing it early, trying to mix it up on the catch, on the pass, on the dribble. I mean, they're trying to give him different looks from the baseline, from a certain guy, leaving the furthest guy away and open. They've tried it all. When you have that and you have that situation, from a coaching standpoint, from a point guard standpoint, you know they're going to double him. So it's about getting him the ball, try to get him the ball in position for him to make a play before it comes, but it also getting him the basketball and letting him basically let the offense run through him and finding open guys or swing shot. And if that's the case, and he's making the offense easier because he's getting – and that's what it's all about. How can you get the best shot at the easiest look? Is creating double teams. Putting the defense at a disadvantage. And that's what you're doing when you do that. But while doing that, you're also telling James Harden, you're going to have to do less, because if the ball is the ball in the offense is running through Joel, that means James doesn't have it, and they're not going to leave him wide open. So some of the things that he's going to be asked to do will be limited if that's
Sacrifice.
how they're playing Joel.
Yeah.
Because they double Joel, they're not going to leave James Harden open.
No.
Even though we've talked about he's not really a catch and shoot guy, they're still not going to leave him open.
I saw it yesterday where they're about to double Embiid. Harden's man stuck on Harden. Green was too close to Embiid, so his man went right to Embiid. Then Green was like, "Oh shit!" He peeled off and went back, and the dude had to go with Green because you can't leave him open either. So it's like we have a good enough team to create that mismatch and create that problem for him as soon as possible. Like, do it. And Joel's so good now off triple teams now. He's not what he was 3 years ago, even. So
he's more patient.
Yeah, and I personally think I think this team would have gave us a lot more problems like 2 or 3 years ago. I think Joel's too good for the whole throw a couple of guys at him thing now. I think you need like a great defender and then another double. So I don't think the whole Boucher and Birch I don't think that's gonna work for them. I think they're
because it's you had when they had Gasol, you have size.
Yep.
You have size and strength that can somewhat hold him his position, keep him off the block a little bit. Exactly. So now he didn't get as many deep post positions. So you get that deep post position. I mean, the best offense I've seen from a big guy was Shaquille O'Neal. And it was a post up. They come and double, throw it back out, repost. Mm-hmm. Because on the repost, he could dig you all the way underneath the basket and the double team couldn't get back there. Because the rules were different then. So you had to, if you went to double, once he passed it out, you had to cleanse yourself. So you had to go all the way back out the lane. You couldn't just stand, but now you could two guys can stand beside a guy without the ball. But you couldn't do that then. So that was the best offense I had seen. The post up, throw it back out, repost. You may have to do some of that. I mean, because I think that'll kind of confuse guys as well.
Poor Dikembe, man, with those turnaround elbows, man. Poor Dikembe.
Yeah, that was.
There's some blows, man. I remember I was like, oh, gosh.
I mean, but
that's why Shaq was taking Embiid's side.
Dikembe gave us some elbows in practice too. So
what's that?
Dikembe gave us some elbows in practice. So
yeah, I bet. Yeah, he was taking it out on you guys probably.
But yeah, that was tough. Shaq was pretty tough cover.
Yeah, and that's why Shaq was getting Embiid's side with the whole foul call disputes yesterday. He's right away. He was like, "Come on." He's right. Stop bitching about it. Like it's Toronto can't expect to get the same foul calls. I don't know how fans. I know I get it. Raptor fans are biased, but you don't have him. You can't. The refs aren't just going to call equal fouls to make it look good on numbers. Like we have a guy who you can't stop, and you're going to have to foul. They have a bunch of jump shooters who are hurt. I mean, like that's it.
They're playing. Obviously, they have to play with more push and force, and that aggression is showing. So if Joel makes a good move, and all of a sudden the guy's that force and he's pushing, and all of a sudden it's a foul. And that's what I think when we on the road, we got to be careful because I'm saying like those calls and all of a sudden that aggression, that force is not that it'll be used against us. It's just that if they have momentum and the game is going their way, it could change pretty quick. I mean, I'll be very surprised to hear Nick Nurse complain about fouls the next 2 games. I'll be very surprised. I just think the nature of the game, it just kind of adjusts and adapt. And guys play better at home. I mean, they really do. As far as not necessarily the plan, but the energy level. It's just different at home. And these guys just don't get as shook up or as rattled. But for our sake, I hope we can go up there and get it over with. Just starting with game 3.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if Scotty Barnes plays, which I don't know. He was in the walking boot yesterday, so I don't know if he's going to play tomorrow. And Trent only played like 10 minutes that game last night, so I don't know if he's going to play either. So if Thaddeus Young, he toughed it out and played. So they're still got guys who are on the cusp of playing or not playing still.
It's easier to get whatever therapy you need and whatever you need to help you feel better at home than it is on the road.
I gotcha.
That's true too. What goes into like as a player, Eric? What goes into factoring the decision to play injured? Like when you're, is it better to be like 60% tonight and then like, yeah, I probably won't be able to get, much better for the next games I play tonight, or to not play tonight and hopefully be at 80% for Wednesday? You know what I mean?
I think most guys, you just kind of look at their game. Like my game, when I play, and then you look at Allen Iverson, our games are totally different, like as far as what we did. So I could probably play at 80% and be somewhat close to where I need to be. But Allen Iverson, all the things that he was asked to do, that's asking for a lot.
Yeah.
Even though he played at 80% a lot, I'm just saying, but that's still asking for a lot for what he was asked to do and all the running and everything that he was asked to do. I just think from a player standpoint, you want to play. Do you feel like you playing can help or hurt the team? And that's really comes down to the coaching decision. Because some coaches, I was told my 75% when I was injured was better, gave us a better chance than somebody else coming in behind me. Mm-hmm. I was told by Larry Brown because of he knew that I could still do some of the things that he expected as far as running team, putting guys in place, still being able to defend and do the things that I was asked to do. I think it really comes down to that. I just think if you are able to play, and go out and do something positive, because majority of guys, when they have injuries, when you get out there and play, you end up performing better than you probably thought you could have from an injury standpoint. But I think it comes down to putting yourself in position. If you know you can go out there, and my guys know if you can run or cut, you kind of know if you could do it. And that's why a lot of people are game time decisions, because you really have to go out there and try it right before the game to really know. Yep. But then it's going to be up to the coach also, who gives you the okay. It's up to the player to decide, hey, I can go. As long as trainers and doctors have said it's really his tolerance and the player say I can go, then it's really up to the coach on whether his 60, 70, or 80% is helping the team or it's hurting the team. Because you don't want the player to be in the position to where his injury is not really good for him, and it's not good for the team if that's happening.
I guess it's another factor too. Can the injury get worse with you playing tonight also?
Yeah, and that's a doctor's call. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the doctors will have to let you know usually ahead of time. There's no further damage. It's just how much can you tolerate?
Pain tolerance, yeah.
Or if you play, you're going to risk this. You can play, but you're risking this. Mm-hmm. And that's where, doctors come in and give you that expert opinion, medical opinion, and then it's up to you to ultimately play. But I've seen guys be declared able to play and said, no, I can't do it. So I've seen it both ways.
Interesting.
I've seen guys that medically and coaches be mad because the player like, no, I can't play. But they said you were good. I can't do it.
It was Zion. Same thing. Zion's happening with him right now.
So I've seen it both ways.
Yeah.
So Larry Brown wasn't ready to hand over the reins to Kevin Ollie in the playoffs, huh?
Well, I mean, I was told that, I couldn't, I was playing with a broken ankle. And what we did was that's when I went to being a reserved because my minutes were restricted, but Coach Brown wanted me to finish the games and finish the halves.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So I went out the lineup so I could finish the games instead of just starting the games. Mm-hmm. So that was I basically played the same amount of minutes, a little bit less, but I just finished instead of starting.
I think that's kind of what they're doing with Curry right now. They're kind of letting him finish each a quarter and a half at the end of the game too, so they can have him to close it out.
Yeah, I don't think I was doing what Steph Curry was doing. But
No.
From a minute standpoint, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, the way they're structuring his minutes, I mean.
Yeah.
I'll take your defense on one ankle than Steph's on two clean ankles.
True.
That's very true. But you mentioned Allen Iverson, and on Saturday when Tyrese Maxey went into the stadium, he was wearing an Allen Iverson jersey going into a career performance. And a lot of people who were casual NBA fans probably didn't know who Tyrese Maxey was. They all know who Tyrese Maxey is now, and a playoff star was born in Tyrese Maxey. This is the question. This is kind of a fun question. I saw Kendrick Perkins tweet it after the game saying there is a big three now in Philadelphia with Tyrese Maxey, Harden, and Embiid. So that's my question. Do we have a big three in Philadelphia? And is Tyrese Maxey, as of right now, our second best player on the Sixers?
We don't have a big three.
No.
Let's not put that expectation and pressure on Maxey, because we see all the issues that not really the issues, but we see all the expectations that we're putting on James. Now, I don't see it. I just see it. You have a young fella that's in the first two games, especially the first game, has exceeded maybe his level of where he is right now. I don't think he's a 30-point scorer. I'm not even sure if he's a consistent 20-point scorer yet, because I haven't seen enough body of work. But I do know that he's a guy that has gotten a lot better, that plays hard. You can tell he loves the game of basketball. He's put in work, and he's going to continue to get better. So I don't get into this big three star. He's a guy that's playing well, and he has helped his team a great deal when he got the opportunity to play the game. So I'm not. So if you want me to answer, I'm saying no. We don't have a big three, because if that was the case, if you look at the season, throughout the season, Tobias Harris is like what he's done and what he did last year. We never really said he never put him in the big three.
Poor Toby.
So, you know what I'm saying? So I can't, if you're talking about a big three and putting somebody and says it's a big three, we got to talk longevity, a season, a few years before you do that.
You call it the medium four with.
Man, I just think he's a really solid player. I'm not getting into this, because that's just going to, put all these expectations on him. It's just not warranted. I mean, because, with the nature of the playoffs, that 12, 14-point game is coming.
Yeah, because you don't want him to tighten up. Part of Maxey's, the good part about his game is he plays so loose, like it's a preseason game. He doesn't care. So you don't want him to think about that stuff and tighten up and think about the expectations. What do I mean?
The point of emphasis on how you're going to play him is going to change. I Bleav that Toronto was sort of like, I'm going to let him kind of roam and get his a little bit. The point of emphasis for him will change. They will make an adjustment on him. And how well he handles that adjustment, we will see. Because it's going to be easier to get, it's going to be harder to get those baskets that he's been getting. And you can tell he's in the rhythm because it's late in the game and they kind of making a run and he gets a steal and he just pulls up for a three. So that's a rhythm, because it wasn't necessarily a great shot, but he's knocking it down.
Yeah.
So if things aren't going well and that rhythm isn't there, how do you handle that? And that's where I say you got to see more before we, even say he's the second best player on the team. Because, sometimes it's what people are asked to do that warrants that. And I think for him, and, I've seen guys start the playoffs off hot, teams make adjustments. Then, like I said, they kind of average out. It's not that they're not playing well. It's just that the situations has changed. Maybe they adjusted they may adjust how they're going to play Joel. That could dictate a lot about who's going to get shots, who's going to make shots.
Yeah.
They'll be a better transition defense team. They'll everything's going to go better, and people are going to make adjustments from game to game. But for Maxey's case and for our case, I would love for him to continue to put up 25 to 30 points a game. I just don't think that's likely.
Must be so deflating for a team to go in thinking you have a good game plan for Joel and thinking you have the keys to the key to the game to take down Harden. And then you got this Maxey guy flying at you like a bat out of hell, scoring 36 and 20 and 20. What do you have? 28 and 9 last night. I mean, that's just 23, 8, 9.
That wasn't expected.
That's what I'm saying. So like, they're like, oh my God.
Totally like, yo, what? So if you, from a staff standpoint, they're like, okay, well, we got to create something for this.
But that's the beauty of our team.
An adjustment here. So the adjustment may be who's defending him. We don't know. They may put a bigger guy on him. They may put somebody different on him. You just, but the adjustment will be made. I just think for him, the interesting thing is that when you make adjustments, it's kind of hard on what you can do because he's not really getting calls or stats. You know what I'm saying? It's not like coming down and running this play for him.
Yeah.
He's getting his just by being there.
Yep.
And that's the case where it's kind of hard to kind of stop it. And I think the way you can kind of adjust to Maxey is to not double as much or, do something different. And that's why I'm saying, like, we got to watch the games.
Yeah.
But it's going to be different as far as how they playing them. So they're going to mix some things up and we'll see.
It's and that's why it's good for us to have that, it doesn't have to be Harden to score 25 or Harris. It's just these four need to give us this. So if they're going to key in on Maxey one game, all right, Harden, well, you have, their third best defender on you. Now you maybe need to score a little more today. Or Harris, time to dominate your one-on-one matchup today because they're giving a lot more attention to him tonight. They're playing him well. So we have the luxury of having, I wouldn't say a big three. If you are going to do a big three, you do Embiid, Harden, and then like 3A, 3B, Maxey and Tobias. But we have the luxury of having four guys who can score more than 20 a game. Not consistently, but like, who can do it or are capable of it.
Yeah.
Capable of going 30, actually, all four guys. So that's a tough thing to transition to. And not a lot of teams have that. Not a lot of teams can do that. Like, I don't know if I can count with my hands how many teams can actually have four guys who can put up 30 in a game.
Yeah.
And that's probably why Harden's like, man, I'm not shooting 20 shots. Like, this isn't Houston. Like, I don't need back then I was relying on, Covington to get me 20. Like, I don't need to do that anymore. I have a team full of guys who can put up shots and like dominate their one-on-one matchups, man. I mean, yeah, but as far as Maxey goes, I mean, I saw a stat. He's one of two players at age 21 to put up like the combined 60 points, him and LeBron, in two straight playoff games. So, I mean, he's in elite company. He looks amazing. Just no expectations. Keep doing what you're doing. That floater of his, man, when he's going 1,000 miles per hour and just stops and slows down and just does that slow, it's so hard to stop because he's so skilled around the rim with his reverse and with his layup. It's you're game planning for him to go all the way there. So when he stops and slows down, just as a floater, it's so hard to guard. It's I mean, you got these guys because Van Fleet, I mean, he's injured. The Van Fleet was getting DPOY votes. So he was getting, he's a good defensive player, and Toronto is not a bad defensive team. They're a really good defensive team, and Nurse is a great game planner. So,
yeah, but they've been exposed.
Yeah,
they've been exposed 100%. From the standpoint of it's different when you have to play a team in the playoffs and everybody's schedule is the same
every night.
It's not. Too, They've played. They're on the back-to-back, and we haven't played in 3 days. It's everybody's schedule is the same. So you got the same amount of rest, everything, you're going out, and all of a sudden, and then them, they know you. This is what they're going to do. They don't have any size. We're going to make them eat down low.
Yep.
So that's when you start doing that, and they know it's coming. So their thing is, we got to double him. We got to take the ball out of his hands. We got to make him go this way. You got to make him go that way. We got to do all of this game planning, and we got James Harden. We want to try to make him go right, try to make him play in the crowd. He's not going to take mid-range shots. When he's a three, press up, don't foul, jump shoot. Like all of that things that you want to do. And that's you can hear all that information for those two guys. And then you get down to Tyrese Maxey is, okay, well, don't give him open shots. Keep my paint.
Yeah.
But that's hard to say when you're exposing your defense from putting so much attention on one guy and then another guy. So now he's finding those gaps. He's being aggressive. He's getting down in transition. So now guys are getting frustrated. He's still doubling the guy that really at one point probably only had 8 points. You're still doubling him. And the guy over here has 20 because you're doubling the guy with 8 points.
And only 2 days in between, or day in between.
So they hadn't really been playing like that. So it's different.
Yeah.
So I think that, you'll see coaches make adjustments. You'll see players from a player standpoint like, yo, man, we got, you kind of talk it out. You get back at home, expect a different team. Hopefully we still win, but expect a different team.
Not having Thibault out there is actually it's another option you can't leave open, because with Danny Green out there instead of Thibault, usually during the season teams were kind of like sagging off of Thibault.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can adjust with that. You just make him the cutter, but you can still make an adjustment for that. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, they would play off him, but I mean, they were leaving Shake open.
Yeah.
Yesterday. I mean, they're going to choose somebody. That's why I say sometimes I don't even think it was really Shake. I think it was just the furthest guy away.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever was the furthest guy away, I think they were leaving to make it. So that's like 2 passes but when you leave the furthest guy away, Joel was so much bigger than everybody, and he was still able to make a direct pass. When you leave the furthest guy away, you want to take away a direct pass and make it 2 passes to get to that guy so the rotation can get to him. And that's where I think that maybe they'll make an adjustment like that. Like you can't double and then leave a guy wide open and allow the guy that's getting doubled to make a direct pass to that guy. That's what you have to be able to eliminate, that it has to be 2 passes out of a double. Yeah. But we'll see. Like that, those are things that, trust me, is going to be discussed. Now, whether they can get us into play like that, I hope not. But it will be discussed, and they will be better.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because this is, in many ways, this is a must-win game for them, and we're going to take that to our final topic, our picks segment. So we faced Toronto in Toronto without Matisse Thybulle, which, I mean, not really. We're seeing less minutes out of him. It's really not. I'm not really noticing much difference defensively, at least. But we opened up as a 2-point favorite. I Bleav right now we're a 1.5 point favorite at Toronto. And this is a must-win game for Toronto. Who do you guys have and why tomorrow night?
Go ahead, Teja.
I like that we open up a 2-point favorite. That's telling me that they want people to jump on Toronto being given 2 points. Their backs are against the wall. They've been a good home team. Last time they played at home, they beat us. I think that bodes well. I was happy to see that line. I was like, okay, that actually makes me feel better about our chances. I'm taking us by 5. I think it'll be closer. I think they are going to kind of jump to a lead. I think they're going to have a lot of energy. They're going to come out really hard. And I don't know if it's this game or the next game. We're going to have, I wouldn't say a lazy game, but we're going to be a little more complacent at some point in the next 2 games. I think we're just due. We're shooting at a really high efficiency. Tobias is shooting like 70 or 80%. Maxey's missed like 3 shots last game. I just think you can't sustain that the whole series. So I think we're going to have somewhat of a letdown, but I still think we pull it out in the end. And Matisse only played 10 minutes yesterday. So it's crazy, man. It's the whole playing Toronto thing may have actually been a good thing in a certain way, because it actually gave Danny a much bigger role in the team, and he's playing great, man. I mean, we saved his legs for this, and I'm so happy for it. Danny looks fantastic, and playoff Danny is what we need. So I don't think losing Matisse is as big of a deal. It will be a big deal because Toronto is not going to look. We're expecting Toronto to look the way they looked in Philly and Toronto, and they're not, like you said. So it is going to be missing Matisse, but I still think we pull it out in the end by about 5.
Eric?
I hope we win. I hope we win. I hope we win. If I'm going by my gut right now, I don't have a good feeling about it. I just think things have been going our way, and playoff basketball, it kind of like, until you win the game on the road. Not that we need to win a game on the road, but I think that's when you really like put the fork in them. If we can go in there and win the game on the road, but I think that they feel they still have life. If they win all their home games and 1 road game, they can still win the series. So I think it's going to be extremely tough. I just hope that we don't get down big. I think if that's the case, then we can get to the end of the game and we can win it. I think it'll be really close. As long as we don't have that huge deficit, then we can pull it out in the end. But I do think it's going to be a really close game.
I'm calling 2 early fouls on Embiid. That's what I'm calling.
on Embiid?
I bet you they get him into foul trouble. I think that's going to be their goal. Get him the hell out of the game.
I would say he'll have 3 and sometime in the second quarter, and we'll have to take him out in the second quarter.
Yeah, I bet you that happens.
So he won't play towards the end of the second quarter. I see that happening, but I'm going to go against the early 2, but I will go with the 3.
But you think he'll be in foul trouble in the first half?
In foul trouble in the first half.
Yeah,
he'll have to miss some time late in the second quarter.
Yeah, that's going to that'll level the playing field real quick.
I definitely see that. Because I think they'll be more aggressive with him. I think they'll be more aggressive attacking them defensively.
Yeah.
So.
I think both you guys, if I remember correctly, both you guys had 7-game series. Do you think if we win tomorrow night, it's going to be a sweep?
I would say 5.
5.
Yeah, I think they'll win. If they lose tomorrow, I think they'll win game 4. But they look pretty defeated on the bench. I mean, granted they were down by 25. You shouldn't look like you're winning, but they look pretty down, man. Like that.
One win can change all that.
That's true. It's true. And Toronto.
Yes. They
have a good home floor. They have a good crowd behind them.
And Drake will be there too, so that just adds.
Yeah.
I wonder if Meek will go to the game. We'll have Meek and we'll have Drake.
Hey, like we said though, it will be really nice to beat them at Toronto though, right? After the Kawhi bounce, that'd be really, really nice.
But no game-winning shot, just 2 blowouts would be nice.
Oh yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, that does it for us, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Bleav in 76ers, presented by BetOnline. We'll see you guys Friday as we recap this game and then preview Game 4. Hopefully, close it with the closeout game, the sweep game. But we'll see you guys Friday.
Cross the fingers.
All right, thank you.
Later, guys.
Take it easy.